So, uh, procedural design weaponry for one-man army. Today I will be talking about game which I made by myself, alone. I can say that it's already done. It is left much to do, but it's going much faster than I thought. First of all, about me. My name is Leonardas Žilinskas. I am now presenting Studio Kibitz, and first meeting with games was when I was a little child, about 6 years, 5 years. Who want to guess what game I saw? Yes, ping pong. My father brought home weird thing with potentiometers in which connected to television. This television is shown as color. We didn't had color TV at that time, so this was so much inspiring and amazing. So with my brother we played all night, and in the morning we couldn't go to school. It looked like this, something like this. If I recall, it was homemade by my father. Was electronic engineer, and he was building equipment for factories and so on and so on. You still can buy this device for Nintendo Switch price and try to play. Afterwards, I played games in public places, in machines, game machines, Soviet game machines. Later came Atari, also was game rooms in public places, in marketplace, supermarkets, and also in 95 or not 90, 85 or 87, my father brought first personal computer. It was called Lviv. It had 48 kilobytes of RAM. And the resolution was impressive at that time. This is actual image from this computer, which was which was capable to show. So games were really interesting, like this Ferrari and so on. Later, my father bought another computer, BK0010, and with this computer you had to load games with magnetic cassettes from recorder, and it was really unpleasant to wait to load these games and so on and so on. And this computer has a basic language. I found one of a father's books, which was in Russian, and started to draw lines by coordinates, typing line from this point to this point, circle from this point to this point, and starting getting something incredible like rectangle, circles, the sun, house or something which at this time was really impressive. Later, while years passing by, where my father bought better computers, and first my game was built on XT computer, IBM XT. Also on in basic language, it was something like this slot machine, which was drawn by pixels, like today. nothing special, yeah. People still drawing pixel styled games, and art, but at that time was different capabilities, different graphic performance and other things. After couple years, I found another tool, 3D Studio Max. It was R2 version, and it was my way to 3D world. It was about 96, 98, if I can recall correctly. And then started to do something which, to my perspective, it was something beautiful, something to do new, something to show people. First game in school I was developing on my graduation job as informatics exam, was game built in Visual Basic and with 3D Max 3D environment. Unfortunately, I didn't find files which I could show you. Now I founded company called Animus Audax studio for game development, and first our product is app for food lovers, which you can download from Google Play right now. By the way, this app will also build on game engine, and 20 years I worked as a GIS specialist in one company, and I'm still working there, but I'm freelancing at Studio Kibitz as a Unreal trainer and like a technical man, technical artist. I started game creation process in 2014, and what is Eastern European game? Eastern European game is a single player game with leaderboard. It allows to compete with other players, but not in direct way. It is action adventure game with strategy elements, which allows you to do things which impacts in your gameplay. Also has elements of survival, because people even in games need to eat something and do things like sex or other fun things. Also there is comedy and open world, and bit mystical. It's mystical stands for will this game someday will be released. So, how it looks like. Short demo.
So, do you like sexual intercourses?
Thank you. This is Eastern European, the game. Inspiration for the game. In the young days, I was in a bad company and I was a man in the yard, like a 16 years teenager, hoodie or hooligan, and have some practice in this sphere. Actually, the main inspiration is Dope Wars. If you know that game, it was popular many years ago, and it just was simple dialogue, and you just selling, buying drugs for some price, and do some strategic things. I thought it would be good to combine two things together. Not drugs. Drugs, for my taste, it's a little bit too radical. Combine Eastern European guys, which likes Adidas and so on, and contraband. These guys also are very creative. They know how to carry on contraband. Really fun to see how horse carrying contraband in in large amounts. Fun fact that such amount it is not fine for contraband, but it's already jail for that amount of contraband. So people letting only horse with contraband through fields. So story begins when Victor gets out, the main character of the game, gets out of jail for another bad thing, and he doesn't have home, and he have to live on its own and find ways how to get to highest position. So you will be playing as Victor. Concept and location for the game was taken from places where contraband mostly was doing, and that's Belarus and Lithuanian border, and the area of the game was picked for for that location. I was analyzing this area, was prototyping, trying to get something what it was needed to get good results for me. In the beginning, in 2014, I found Unity as a game engine. I learned that the best way to learn new software is try to do something in it and something beautiful and something impressive, and I tried to manage it by myself, and a year later I had a prototype like this. Damageable car, fields, waste, and other. But for my taste, it lacks graphic quality and performance, and actually at that time Unity didn't have tools which was necessary to build open world game. I don't know how it is today. It's enough for this crazy driving. It didn't look really cool. And then, after 1 year with Unity, it was like a miracle. I saw Unreal Engine and I said, I want this look. So Unreal was free for all, for everyone, and I started to look what I can do with my what can I do on my own. And at that time was No Man's Skies games on way, and everyone was talking that procedural generation is piece of shit and so on and so on. But I really was impressed with Ghost Recon team, which were built from 15 guys from France, and they talked in one conference about how they built that game, and I thought they are French, they don't like work, and afterwards I could make a game a little bit less in less amount, but still I could do something similar on my own. Yeah, procedural generation is piece of shit. It could be piece of shit if you don't know how to use it. It can be armor like this, or can be feature like this. Yeah. If you have rules and regulations, you can do with a procedure generation very much. I had to build a surface from GIS data. I had height map. On top of height map, it was splat maps, foliage types, and foliage spawners. Height map was built from 3 layers: ground surface, roads, and rivers. The actual height map of a game. Area of a game is 15 by 15 kilometers. It's quite big for the game, but not huge as Ghost Recon game. They have all Bolivia built. I needed to to have place to do car chases and other things to take part in my game. So, statistics. Roads and the rivers in the game, I could count 1,951 roads and streets. It's overall 800 kilometers. There was some bigger rivers, lakes, and so on. I combined everything in virtual machine and then built splat maps for coloring, texturing, ground textures, water and grass types or foliage types like regular grass, various cultures, and so on. This is rough land use map where forests, where everything, and the final splat map looked like that. It's 42,000 pixels by 42,000 pixels resolution. In-game map looks like this at this moment. And foliage types was divided into species and by seasons, because game is built with seasons with different conditions. There is winter, spring, summer, and autumn, and it had different types of elements. And it was placed. Everything was placed procedurally. A frame with a in raining weather, and this is winter. Power lines also was placed procedurally, and with tools like this. It's manually placed, but I can place every geometry from GIS files. I can import directly in game from shapefile, get coordinates and place elements directly in the game. It can be controlled separately. After placement, I can adjust areas, but everything was automated. For example, connections to transformers. There is more than 1,000 residential and industrial buildings in the game. And they also has its own style by location, and I was traveling in this area to get references, which type of buildings in this area, how color distribute on buildings, how they look, and so on. To get most efficient result, I needed to build tools which allowed me to control everything when object was placed in the world, because in some time sometimes you need to do adjustments, so it need to be controllable in real time. Should vary with real world objects, and you can easily modify and rebuild these objects. Rebuilding of the world was necessary from perspective that when I was building my world 3 or 4 times I was lost my whole project and had to rebuild from scratch. So I found best types of building arrangements for placing them in the game, where the fences, where living houses, where helping houses, and so on, and objects need to be placed. There is no random colors in the game. Everything is prescribed. This element of a property, house property, you can adjust area of a property. You can define attributes from GIS data when you're importing, and I can describe these parameters in GIS data. So afterwards you can just tweak elements if you want. If you want something to get something special or different from the area. You can turn off on grass, fences elements, or manually position house types and so on and so on. The paths could be adjustable like in procedural element. When you're changing object position, it automatically changes color and on location is based object coloring. Also, you can change coloring by hand if you don't want to have two identical coloring colored houses in one place. But mostly of objects are colored by random values, by position. All elements of a building is built like that. This is material which changes its color by its position multiplied by value which I can adjust. And if I change that value, I can change all the colors. So this is manual tweaking of a property. It's not necessary when I importing it from GIS data, because there is presetted. I just want to show how flexible it could be adjusted if I want to manage manually. Yeah, and how it looks in game. So I will be showing you now how to build manageable materials in Houdini, like you see in balconies of high-rise buildings, if I can call it high-rise. They are also based on random position values, and how I made it with help of Houdini. Actually, it can be done with any other software. but in Houdini you can get bit better randomization options. Everything based on vertex colors. If you know Houdini, if you don't know Houdini, fuse means like in Max or other software, vertex weld function, which joins every vertex together. And in Houdini, everything is based on attributes, and you can adjust objects attributes like you want procedurally. We're changing colors to set certain areas manageable. Black color does nothing. Red color allows to add dirt values. You will see that later. And as you see, every plane is separate, and you need to connect everything and select everything with which areas we need to change. For that, at that moment, we need to change only walls and window frames. So I select by object groups, not by single element. This piece of geometry is a single mesh combined in one piece. So we can manipulate it only by single elements or by different areas. So now we have red color on the walls only, and black color it doesn't affect dirt values. So we need to do some randomization for air conditioners, satellite plate, and other things. So as we have geometry as one piece, we need to get in this geometry by its elements, and Houdini has its attributes, as I mentioned, and we can filter by object class. Every element of the object has its own number, as you can see, and we will randomize the coloring for air conditioning and air conditioners and then satellite antenna. We defined which attribute will be used. Mesh class, I renamed it to see which object we will use, and added random color attribute, which randomizes all elements in the scene at this moment by vertex, by point color, and we need to change that these colors will be driven by mesh class attribute. After that, we will able to randomize. Now I'm setting color of these elements to blue. This is red, green, blue, and alpha channels, and I adjusting values from 0.1 to 0.5 to get random colors for these elements. Now we see everything in blue because we didn't select elements which we need to randomize. Now I can choose every object by UV layout. Only these UV elements will be selected, the same material object. As these elements selected, still couple left. They are selected in all mesh. As you can see, all the air conditioners are selected. Just need the same to select the same object type. So we have selected all the elements of these objects, and now we can control its coloring by, as you can see, they became blue. Why they are blue, I will show you later. And we can see as I drag seed, every point element changes, and we can see how what values are defined for the different class. The values is vary, so randomization was successful. So next we need to make windows in different color, in different vertex color, to get able change coloring of them. The balcony and the wall close to the to the windows of the balcony. The same principle by group. You can select objects different type. So we getting another color in that area, and it will be our color for the window frames and the balcony panels. As you can see, vertex color is changed. We just add also seed values to get randomization. As I scrolling seed. So after this, we can export everything to Unreal Engine, and now I change it coloring to green. And we have different vertex colors. When we export everything to Unreal Engine, we can color everything by specialized materials. Similar technique I used for roads, for houses where I need to add road patches or something like that, and it can be adjusted by material. It's block from Houdini in an Unreal Engine environment, and you can see in different vertex color, and you can see that blue is variation of a blue in different air conditions. This is randomization, and after I drag it in screen and move it around, I getting random position of objects and random colors. Also, I can tweak everything by single number or visibility of the objects with two sliders. Color of the planks. And amount of technique, how rich people lives in this flat. I can be like God. I can decide who can have antennas and air conditioners. Building this open world games, it's adds power of God to your hand. You actually start thinking like God. Say, now it will be light. Now. So the main principle of randomization in the game looks like this, and also I used for models photogrammetry, like you see sample and this, and as in the studio for photo scanning you have to use materials like this. My t-shirt with blue color, and as my motivation for this game is to see one day that phrase in press. Yeah, it's a joke. My motto is everything is possible, and the impossible just takes longer and need more money or something like that. If you want to collaborate and make this game great again, thank you for your time.